Today on The Big Story, escalation in the Middle East as Iran launched missile attacks on US-led forces in Iraq in retaliation for the killing of Qasem Soleimani. What happens to abandoned babies, and are there places where people can drop off unwanted babies? ST Senior Social Affairs correspondent Teresa Tan shares more. Gaming giants Microsoft and Sony are set to unveil their new flagship consoles in the coming months. What are some of the games to look out for? It's Wednesday and you're watching The Big Story, where we will discuss the hottest topics of the day and explain why they matter. I'm Haryanto Diman, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. All is well, that is what US President Donald Trump tweeted after Iran lobbed several missiles on US-led forces in Iraq this morning. Iran's attack was in retaliation for the US drone strike killing General Qasem Soleimani. Now all eyes are on what President Trump will now do as fears are raised of a wider war in the Middle East. The extent of damage or casualties at the bases are still unknown. However, Iranian state television claimed at least 80 of what it called American terrorists were killed, adding that none of the missiles were intercepted. President Trump is yet to address the nation following the missile strikes, but said to expect a statement early tomorrow. Separately, Singapore Airlines said today it was diverting all flight routes from Iranian airspace following the attack. To discuss more on this, we have foreign editor Jeremy Aoyong. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thanks, Harry.
Now, Jeremy, if you could share with us, what is the situation right now? Can we expect a further escalation in hostility?
Well, I think the irony of it is that today's missile strike by Iran actually gives everybody an opportunity to de-escalate. I know that's not intuitive. We have a piece now on straitstimes.com by our US Bureau Chief, Namal Ghosh, where he's speaking to analysts, and they argued that Iran's strike, because it could be quite limited in scope, could allow everybody some breathing room. Right. So they're arguing that Iran actually knows the two bases it hits very well. They have intimate knowledge of these two US bases, and they know where the US citizens and staff are, and are capable of sending missiles there that avoid them.
Right.
Yeah. So it now all really depends on two things. So the first is how many American citizens were killed. At the moment, we don't have a good sense of casualties. The Iranians have said 80 American terrorists. The Pentagon has not said anything. If it turns out to be quite minor, the pressure on the US to retaliate will be less.
Right.
If turns out to be there are quite a number of American casualties, then Donald Trump will feel the pressure to strike again, and then we could see an escalation. But if it's not, if it is as the analysts believe, quite a limited strike with minimal damage, then if the US then doesn't retaliate, if it goes like the tweet, he said all is well, then everybody can step back. So I've hit you, the US has struck Iran, then Iran says, I've hit you back, and now we can go back to our separate corners and without taking things to another level.
Right.
The second thing that this depends on is Donald Trump, of course. So much of what has happened already has been unpredictable. Nobody's expected that the US would target Qasem Soleimani. And so now we're really watching what Donald Trump will do next.
Right.
There's a sense that he would step back because nobody really wants escalation, but nobody can really say for sure what he's going to do.
Now, Jeremy, talking about retaliation, why did Iran retaliate now? I mean, it does come after Donald Trump's provocative claims of having 52 targets lined up if they retaliate for the Soleimani killing.
I don't think it has too much to do with those statements.
Right.
I think the Soleimani killing was really the trigger event. Right. I don't think Iran had a choice. They had to do something. Having another country deliberately target and kill your high-ranking government official. And if whatever he was in life, when he died, you can see during his funeral procession, so many Iranians came out to the streets. This man now is a national hero to Iran.
Yeah.
I don't think Iran can allow this attack to have happened to them and not do anything. They would look, the government would look weak, the country would look weak.
Yeah.
They could not allow that. They needed to respond in some way. And this was the response they chose. It seemed quite a limited one. I think the Ayatollah described it as a slap in the face. So
it's like a statement of sorts, right?
It is a statement of sorts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Jeremy, now let's focus on the reactions from other countries to this tension. What are the reactions? I mean, we know Australia is highly dependent on US reaction and decision. And then British troops, they are on standby. Can you elaborate more on that?
I think it's quite clear nobody really wants to get into another war.
Yeah.
So, and certainly they don't want to get into a war where the source of it, the origins of it is not very clear. Why did the US target, and this killing of Soleimani, I say, is the trigger event.
Yeah.
Why did they go after him now? I don't think the justification of that has been very clear. And so that's why I don't think the international response has been, there hasn't been a consensus as to, we need to back the US this time. There's no international coalition that is backing them up. You hear the most common refrain out of the different countries is call for calm and restraint. You've heard that from even traditional US allies. UK, even Boris Johnson is calling for calm. France is called for calm. China, not a US ally, but they are also calling for restraint.
Could it be, because of bad memories as well?
Potentially.
Yeah.
The last time, in 2003, the US invaded Iraq. They did form a case. They did try and build an international coalition for this attack. And today we know that really the case they built was built on quite shaky evidence. As shaky as that was, this round, the evidence feels even shakier. I think everybody is quite cautious about rushing in to take sides now.
Right. Well, it remains to be seen, like what you mentioned, what Donald Trump is going to do moving forward. And of course, he has said to be, he's expected to say something tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So he said early. In the morning, Wednesday, US time. That could be any time tonight or early tomorrow morning for us. Right. He's expected to make a statement that will tell us a lot about what happens next. Right.
Well, thank you so much, Jeremy, for coming onto the show to share with us more on this US-Iran tension. To read more on the tension, you can check it out on our website, straitstimes.com. Now, moving on, a baby was found alive and abandoned in the bin of a rubbish chute at the Bedok North HDB block yesterday. In the past 10 years, there have been 17 abandoned babies. Now, before we delve more into it, here's a quick recap of what had happened. The police received a call for help at the Housing Board block at 9:11 a.m. yesterday morning. A town council cleaner was removing rubbish from the bin when he found the baby crying in a bag with blood in it. Apart from making their rounds on every floor of the block, police are also contacting owners of vehicles parked nearby to ask for footage captured by their in-car cameras. We have a senior social affairs correspondent, Teresa Tan, to share with us more on this. Welcome, Teresa. Now, Teresa, let's have a quick recap of the incident. Are there any latest updates so far?
So we checked with the police this afternoon and they are still investigating.
Okay.
So no updates from the police, no.
Yet. As of now, still searching as well, right? The police are still searching for the parents. Yeah. Now, Teresa, we are curious, right? What happens to abandoned babies? Are they put up for adoption? What's going to happen to, say, this abandoned baby boy?
Okay. So when an abandoned baby is found, the Ministry of Social and Family Development, which runs the Child Protective Services, is alerted. So while investigations are ongoing, the MSF will look into care arrangements for the child, for example, placing the child in foster care. So if the authorities do manage to track down the parents, then the MSF will come in and assess the family situation to see if they can and are deemed suitable to care for their child themselves. If not, if they can't track down the parents, cannot track down the extended family, or if they assess the family and find that the family is not suitable or are unwilling to take care of the child themselves, they will look into other care options, which includes placing the child up for the adoption. Yes.
Right. Now, Teresa, in the West, we know that there are baby drop-off centers, right? Where parents can leave their unwanted child, as unfortunate that is. Is there such a service in Singapore?
No, there's no such service. I mean, I think Chimes used to, the OCHIJ used to take in, people used to leave their unwanted babies at the gate, but no, there is no such service.
Why is that so?
When I spoke to social workers earlier today, I mean, they were telling me that there is a host of support services for pregnant women in distress. And given that the number of abandoned babies found is so low, it's like, 17 cases in 10 years, they do not see the need for such a service.
Right. And now, Teresa, you brought that up, 17 babies found in the past 10 years. Now, that is in Singapore. Where are some of these places that past abandoned babies have been found?
All over the place, actually. Lift landings, toilets. There was one baby who was found buried alive in a rooftop garden outside people's houses. And in one very shocking case, a woman actually gave birth and walked out of the hospital without her baby.
Oh, and that was done on purpose?
We have no idea. I mean, the authorities wouldn't say more, but she did manage to leave the hospital without her baby after giving birth.
Okay. So these are some of the places. Now, of course, Teresa, beyond the help available for abandoned babies, how about the sources of help available to women at risk or struggling even to keep their babies, hopefully to kind of mitigate the circumstances that end up with abandoned babies?
So there are a few social service agencies specializing in providing help and support to pregnant women in distress or those facing a pregnancy crisis, as they call it. There is the Safe Place, which runs a shelter which offers temporary refuge to women who need a place to stay, during their pregnancy and shortly after that. They also provide counseling and support. There's the Pregnancy Crisis Service. They mainly provide counseling and other form of support. And then there is a specialized service just for teenagers. It's called BABES. So they run a 24-hour hotline.
That's for teenagers who are facing pregnancy crisis, as it were.
Yes.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Teresa, for coming on to share more on this. Now, to read more on the story, you can visit our website, straitstimes.com. Now, let's move on to What's Trending, where Dylan will share with us what's buzzing in the internetverse. Over to you, Dylan.
Thanks, Haranto. It's time for What's Trending. First up, a Ukrainian plane crashed on Wednesday, killed all 176 passengers on board shortly after takeoff from Tehran today. The Boeing 737 belonging to Ukraine International Airlines erupted in flames after crashing near Tehran's airport. Boeing is already mired in crisis due to crashes involving the same jet in October 2018 and last March, both which killed nearly 350 people. Next up, would you travel 200 kilometers to return a wallet? Well, someone did. A Grab driver in Malacca traveled that distance to return a passenger's wallet left behind in his car. Mr. Mai Chun Ming, who left his wallet, contacted Good Samaritan Mr. Satish Karupasamy, and the two agreed to meet at a gas station in Johor. Faith in humanity restored. Now, fake news alert. The Ministry of Health has responded to a WhatsApp message making its rounds on how not to catch influenza. The message, purportedly by MOH, advises people to constantly sip water because, I quote, once the membrane in your throat is dried, the virus will invade your body within 10 minutes. MOH says there is no truth to this and has advised the public on the ways to stop the spread of flu. You can read the full story on straitstimes.com. And finally, PewDiePie, the most subscribed individual user on YouTube, has cleared the air over his harsh comments about Malaysian and Singaporean fans. He has said the fans were hectic and squeamish when they saw him in person. In a video released over the weekend, the 30-year-old Swedish YouTuber apologized, admitting that they were a little harsh. He said that he was comparing fan culture between Asian countries as opposed to smaller Scandinavian ones. I'm Dylan Ang, and that's all we have for What's Trending today. If you've seen a story you want to share, tell us in the comments section on Straits Times Facebook page.
Well, thank you, Dylan, for the update. Now, exciting year ahead for the gamers out there. Gaming giants Microsoft and Sony are set to unveil their new flagship consoles in the coming months, ahead of the end of the year holiday season when both will be released. The Straits Times Tech Team highlights the games to look out for. Microsoft drew first blood when it gave an early look at its new Xbox Series X last December. It is said to be 4 times more powerful than the current generation's Xbox One. There have been no official revelations about how the Sony's PlayStation 5 console will look. A demonstration by Sony in an investor meeting last year showed that it will have faster load times. There could, however, be a third contender in the console war. Last week, there were rumors Japanese game company Nintendo could be launching a new Pro version of its wildly successful Switch console. We have with us journalist Haris Baharudin, who is in the tech team right here with us in the studio. Hi Haris. Now Haris, before we go on to the games, okay, tell us more about the new consoles by Microsoft and Sony. And of course, the rumors, is it true that Nintendo is going to be launching Pro? Yeah.
So let's talk about Microsoft and Sony first, because those are the ones that we officially know will be releasing consoles at the end of this year. So both these consoles that are going to come out are saying that they have faster load times and better graphics. So with each console generation update, we have seen graphics getting better, and it's always a case of, wow, I've never seen this before. These are something that mimics real life, and we can expect the same jump in graphics to be happening in this case too. And as you mentioned, the 2 new offerings from Sony and Microsoft will be launched at the end of the year. I think a notable point to make is that these 2 consoles have made a commitment towards backwards compatibility, which essentially means that the games will be able to play games from the previous generation too.
Right, okay.
So, well, at this stage, we definitely know more about Microsoft's new console than we do about Sony's. So this new Xbox is called the Xbox Series X. It looks like a rectangular cuboid console that stands vertically. It's a bit like a PC, some people have said. Yeah. So as for the PS5, all we've had officially is a look at their logo, which they unveiled yesterday. And there have been some leaks, some rumors floating around about how it could potentially look like. So some game developers or some people have uploaded pictures that have been sent to game developers about how it could potentially look like. It looks like there's a V shape on it, some cooling vents on it. It has a unique design. I think it's not been the most popular in terms of the online community in gaming, but yeah, we will see when they officially reveal it, which should be happening coming few months.
Right, what about the Nintendo rumors?
As for the Switch, so all we know about it is now it's just rumors, but it does make sense that Nintendo want to continue the momentum, because the Switch is doing very well. It's sold by, I think, 40 million copies in such a short span of time. So it's one of the fastest selling consoles ever, I think. And it does make sense that they would not want to fall back and lose out to the other 2 competitors. So we could potentially see them releasing a new Switch that has better graphics, maybe that could stand alongside the PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Nintendo Switch, and they just recently also released the Gen 2 of the Switch as well,
the portable version, right?
Yeah.
The smaller one.
Now, having said that, with all these new updates, very exciting specs, price point perhaps is going to be on the high side, I suppose. Are the consoles worth buying?
It depends, because right now we really don't know much about it, other than the fact that they have going to be faster load times and better graphics. These are the 2 main things, and of course, like I said, backwards compatibility. But at the end of the day, I think it's the games that will matter the most to gamers. Like these manufacturers can tout all these different features. You can say that you have whatever graphics that you can conjure up. But at the end of the day, it's all about the exclusives. It's all about what gaming experiences players can look forward to when they buy the console. So I think that is what will really make the difference.
Right. And Haris, of course, in your article, you've highlighted, in fact, the whole tech team has highlighted their own picks for the games moving forward. So tell us, what are some of the games to look out for?
So I'll keep it to the next generation of games that we talked about in this conversation. So as for games for the new consoles, there's actually not a lot to look forward to for now.
Right.
Like for the Xbox Series X, we know that Halo Infinite, which is a new addition to the signature series from Microsoft, will be releasing when it launches, and an action adventure game called Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. As for Sony, all we know is that it's one title so far. It's Godfall, which is an action role-playing game. I think we're in sort of the last phase of the current console generation's rollout. So it's not, I think, maybe till maybe after the first half of the year is over that we'll actually see more games being announced, some information about the current games that have been announced too. We just have to wait and see lah.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, Haris, for sharing more on this. I think it's really exciting, right?
Yeah, it's a good time to be a gamer.
Good time to be a gamer, exactly. Now, to read more about the new gaming consoles and, of course, to read Haris's as well as the whole Straits Times team picks on the games, you can visit our website for the full list. There we have it, our top stories for today. For more news and videos, do log on to our website, straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Haryanto. See you tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.